When we conducted the budget hearings for the
Speaker Judy Wonpat is defending her actions after being criticized by the governor's office for removing the Guam Department of Education from federal grant clearinghouse review. The statement made by Education Liaison Vince Leon Guerrero came in a press release from Adelup on Friday, announcing that the U.S. Department of Education had granted an extension to Guam DOE, giving the department until the end of the next fiscal year to spend federal ERA dollars. With that being the second extension the governor requested on behalf of DOE, Leon Guerrero said, quote, "It is beyond reason why the chairwoman on education in the legislature would even think that removing DOE from federal grant clearinghouse review is appropriate, considering how often these mistakes are made." The exemption from review was granted through a budget rider introduced by Speaker Wonpat in an amendment to the budget bill, which later became law.
Everything that we always put in, we proffer as an amendment, the members would have to approve or disapprove, and nobody objected.
Prior to the amendment, Wonpat had introduced the exemption as Bill 493, which she says was written in response to testimony from DOE Superintendent John Fernandez during a budget hearing in July, in which Fernandez said an exemption from mandates such as clearinghouse approval would help streamline operations and improve efficiencies. Fernandez declined a request for comment on the clearinghouse issue today, but Wonpat says his request was validated in a meeting with U.S. DOE officials.
My staff has also met with the superintendent from GDOE and from U.S. DOE Representative Christine Jackson and Mark Robinson, and the two made it clear that despite the recent implementation of a state-of-the-art financial management system, there are still external bottlenecks that delays the process, and we're talking about, federal grants.
Wonpat also pointed out that Guam Community College and the University of Guam have already had the exemption, so it makes sense for DOE to also be exempted when it comes to consolidated grants, which are typically awarded on an annual basis.
These are regular grants that we get on a yearly basis, and those, because of the fact that it has been vetted, very little changes if they needs to be done. The federal fiduciary agents are there, so therefore, there's this request that we don't add another layer again to a grant that we continually get awarded every year.
Federal grants, loans, contracts, contributions, and appropriations or other federal funding sources for the government of Guam are all required to pass through the Guam State Clearinghouse for review, except in the case of an exemption. Betsy Brown, PNC News.